Hello everyone! Welcome to the 5th of Winter/Christmas specials, this time for real, and also it's time for SakuAtsu to make some amends. Or not, who knows. As always, special thanks to my lovely patrons, members, and all of you who still watch my videos. Don't forget to subscribe to keep up with the uploads, and check out the members only posts with the Jealousy and Confession series. The weather started to get much colder in the past few days. Enough so Atsumu had to pull out a much thicker jacket and gloves in order to not freeze while heading home. It was a sudden drop, with an outlook for snowing soon, and it made him wonder whether that didn't contribute to Sakusa's long sickness. Otherwise, he was sure his partner would already be fit and running around the court. The fever went down a few days ago, fortunately, but he was still in no shape to play again, leaving Atsumu to stop by sometimes to take care of him. Well, leaving. He didn't consider it work or some ordeal. However, once Sakusa was no longer burning up, he opted to only visit instead of staying full-time in their flat. It was better for both of them, he tried to convince himself, but deep down, he would give anything to be there for Sakusa at all times. He didn't dare to suggest it though. Maybe if he says something. He let out a shuddered breath, the cloud of mist in front of his mouth dissipating as fast as his hope. He hadn't mentioned anything about Sakusa's broken wish from the first day of his fever, trying not to make things awkward. It was just the sickness and vulnerability speaking from him anyway, not like he actually meant it. At least he's not against me stopping by, that's good. It was fine. They were moving slowly but surely. They talked like normal, although without any affectionate words. In that regard, not much changed for Sakusa. But he had to hold back a lot to not cross the invisible boundaries Sakusa set around him. Just like back then, before they started dating. It was fine. They just had to find a way to each other again. Surely if Sakusa didn't want them to reconcile, he would have said so already, right? He huddled deeper into the jacket despite the cold spreading through his body having nothing to do with the surrounding temperature, and sped up to be inside as soon as possible. I hope he has heating turned on. Fortunately, it seemed that Sakusa didn't intend to try strengthening his immunity by staying in a cold apartment, and he let out a somewhat content sigh when the comfortable warmth chased away the cold from the outside. He carefully set the bag he brought on the counter, making sure nothing was dirty or displaced before he headed further inside the flat to look for Sakusa, quiet in case he was sleeping. Instead of that though, he found him sitting cross-legged on the bed, wrapped in a blanket and a jackal's hoodie, scrolling on his phone. He stopped himself before calling out a greeting, for a moment just admiring his beloved's features. His fingers tingled with the distant memory of combing through the thick curls and caressing the soft lines of his face during better times in their relationship. He had it all, and now all that stayed with him was a heartache. Hey, feeling better? Sakusa looked up, not as startled to see him as Atsumu expected, and nodded. Somewhat. The fever's almost down to normal. That's good. Are you hungry? I got you some bananas. That's not really something for hunger, is it? His voice was surprisingly light, almost as if he was teasing him. It made Atsumu's brain stop for a moment before he reminded himself that Sakusa was still sick and probably not in the mood for teasing. He still chuckled a little, sheepishly rubbing the back of his neck. I guess not, but they are good for immunity. Mom always said so. I see. Then sure. Careful on his legs, he got up from the bed and walked past Atsumu to the kitchen before he could say anything to stop him. Although, did he want to stop him? It was amazing that he could finally walk around without feeling faint. He didn't need Atsumu to baby him anymore. As if drawn to him by some invisible thread, Atsumu followed after him, suddenly unsure what to do in the flat he still called his home, as if he was just a kid again, visiting his friend. How was practice? Pretty solid. Mayan is on our asses again because of that article, but otherwise it's going good. We miss you there though. Sakusa blinked in surprise, tilting his head. Are you sure that's a thing? Okay, well, I miss you. There. He quickly added the there at the end, trying to mask his slip-up, although it was probably a fruitless attempt. He had no right to do this though, say things like this when he was the one supposed to give Sakusa space to make the final decision. But hey, coach said to let you rest, so no pressure on going back. I mean, I bet you'd still play better than that rookie even when sick, but it's better not to risk anything. So yeah, just stay home until you feel well again. We'll manage somehow before... He froze, swallowing the rest of the sentence, and many that were sure to follow. Sorry, I'm yapping too much. Just like always when things got awkward, usually making it even more awkward. But he couldn't help himself, even after being told numerous times to stop. Sakusa, ever the silence lover, probably hated it too, just never said anything to not be insensitive. Since when was that an issue? His head shot up, the gentle tone and even softer look in the dark eyes sending dull pain through his chest. I don't know. I thought you don't like it. I wouldn't date you if I minded. True. Sakusa was the last person to put up with something he hated for years. But that little note made him think back to the moments when he discovered completely new sides of his boyfriend years into living together, because Sakusa was too scared to tell him to not appear crazy to him. He really was doing an awful job of making Sakusa comfortable within their relationship, wasn't he? I'm sorry. Tsumu, I told you... No, not for that. For everything. He clenched his jaw against the sudden influx of emotions, the realizations dawning on him one by one in a rapid succession. I wish I was better to you. For you. I always said I love you the way you are, but then I always pushed you away because of your quirks. You deserve better than that, and so much better. But I'm too selfish to let go. His hands instinctively tightened into fists to hide how much they trembled, although he couldn't do the same with his voice, his control all gone. I know I made a lot of mistakes, and I'll probably keep making them because I'm damn screw up, but I'm not doing any of that on purpose to hurt you, I swear. I'll give you all the time you need to think about it, you don't have to rush, but if you feel like there's even a little hope left, then please don't give up on me. He had to look and sound absolutely pathetic, but he was way beyond caring about that. However, he cared about the things that were at stake, and if he had to lower himself to the floor and beg for Sakusa to give him a chance to improve, he would do it in a heartbeat. Unfortunately, Sakusa would probably find it disgusting and clingy, and he wouldn't blame him in the slightest. He startled when Sakusa stepped closer, the sorrow in his eyes feeling like an iron rod piercing his chest. Yet the gentle smile curling his lips kept him from bolting away. I'm not giving up. He nodded up to the ceiling, and Atsumu followed the motion without hesitation, his breath hitching when he spotted a small branch hanging above their heads. You hung up mistletoe already? Motoya brought it along yesterday. Of course he did. His heart skipped a beat when the most familiar hand brushed against his. Somewhere along the way, he somehow managed to forget how it felt to have the jolts rush under his skin from the simple touch. So careful, so gentle, so loving. He hesitantly lowered his gaze to meet Sakusa's eyes again, his vision hazing when the hand roughened by volleyball squeezed his, their fingers entwining as if they had a mind of their own. I know I blabbered when I had the fever, but the base is true. I don't want you to leave. I don't want what we have to end. There's just a lot of undesirable stuff in me that might put you off eventually, and I don't know if I can manage that. He took a shaky breath, for the first time allowing Atsumu to see just how much this whole situation weighed on him as well. Feeling brave, Atsumu returned a weakening squeeze to Sakusa's hand. A single spark of a new hope ignited in his soul. Then how about you tell me about it before it comes up? Tsumu. I know you are scared, I understand. But I swear I've never found anything about you undesirable. A little unusual, sure, and some things took getting used to, and probably will get some getting used to too. But I want to do all that. I want to be someone who deserves you. He bit hard on his lip and then took a leap. Can you give me a chance to be better? Instead of an answer, Sakusa leaned their foreheads together and squeezed his hand tighter, as if he was scared of letting go. Although that much was enough of an answer for Atsumu, and enough to chase tears into his eyes. Are you sure you don't mind? I am. I'm so sorry for what I said. That these 2 months were the worst time in my life. He looked up, resisting the urge to cradle Sakusa's face. I don't want to be apart again. I'm not saying we have to move back together right now. Nothing like that. You can take your time. But I promise I'll do better from now on. I believe you. Just give me a little more time. Of course. He bit hard on his tongue, torn between wanting to squeal in joy and wail in relief that, despite everything, he could salvage things after all. With a lot of work on his side and some patience on Sakusa's, he supposed, but there was hope. He just had to make sure to never, ever take their love and peace for granted. Do you want to stay for a while? Absolutely. Should we get lunch? Sakusa smiled, turning Atsumu's knees into jelly. Sounds good. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Sorry if there were some glitches in the audio. I don't know why the editing program suddenly started doing this. I know what does it, but it was too late to repair, so I will make sure it doesn't happen next time. And yeah, because I edited this one myself, and I almost could forget how tedious editing is. Anyway, I hope you're happy with how SakuAtsu is currently progressing, and it's just going to get better, you'll see. If you have any requests or ideas, the request form is linked in the video description. See you next time!